So, I want to take a look at Andrew Cuomo. I am not a fan of Andrew Cuomo's, and I think he has said repeatedly that he is not leaving the governorship of New York. He's not running for president. He's not running for vice president. I think one of the reasons is because of this Buffalo Billions scandal. I've been trying to get somebody from New York to come on and talk to us about it. We haven't found the guy yet. But this Buffalo Billions thing was one of those stupid setups where you pay businesses to stay in the state because you're overtaxing people. And so he was overtaxing people. Businesses were leaving. So he was taking people's tax dollars and paying it to businesses. And of course, it immediately became corrupt. 4 people, I believe, have already been convicted of corruption and spreading bribes and taking bribes for who gets the money. One of them was a guy named Joe Percoco, who was called Cuomo's third brother. He was supposed to be just a very, very close associate of Andrew Cuomo. So I think this is the reason Cuomo's not going to run. I think there's a lot of corruption in this administration. I'm not saying he's a good guy at all. However, he is one of the governors who is working for his state, right? This is one of these things. In an emergency, these guys either continue to bash Trump, like Gretchen Whitmer, they go nuts and they decide I'm Napoleon. It's everything. She's going to show up in a military costume. But Cuomo, I think, has been handling this in a responsible way. He's been trying to help the people in his state. He's got a city that is worse than a lot of countries. And he said good things about Trump. Here's cut 4. He says Trump is working with him.
We have kept politics out of this crisis. And I've worked very hard to do that. I've worked very hard to keep myself out of the politics. I have no personal politics, not running for anything. I'm governor of New York, thank you, and that's where I'm going to stay. I've worked very hard with the President of the United States. We've had our political differences in the past, no doubt. But there's also no doubt that I've worked hand in glove with the President here. And he has been responsive to New York and responsive to New York's needs, and he's done it quickly and he's done it efficiently. I've literally had conversations with him in the morning where he turned around a decision by that afternoon. I've been in the federal government. I know what it's like to make a decision. And he has really responded to New York's needs.
And then he said this, which I just think is a really important point. This is cut 5.
It's very hard, especially at this time. And you start to hear this dialogue on reopening, and you start to hear people with political theories on whether we should reopen faster, whether we should reopen sooner, why are people against reopening, why are people in favor of reopening. That is corrosive and destructive, and if we don't stop it, it will feed on itself. There are no political conspiracies here. All the projection models have basically said the same thing. Everyone has basically said the same thing.
I agree with this. I'm not a fan of his. I don't agree with his politics. I think he's been an overspender. I suspect there's corruption I know there's corruption in his administration. 4 big people have already been convicted. But what he's saying is right. Most of these guys are just trying to get it right. Most of them are working in the dark. We're all working in the dark. They've got numbers. They've got experts. They've got to listen to the medical people, and they've got to listen to the economic people. They are doing what they can do. Pay attention to the guys who aren't. Pay attention to the guys who are arresting fathers in their own backyards, playing basketball with their kids. Pay attention to the governors who are seizing too much power, but also pay attention to the guys who step up and put politics aside for a couple of minutes and try to get this right, because those are the guys we're going to have to rely on when all this passes away.